Prabhu, I'd like to share this quote from the Bhakti Vedanta Database archives. You asked this question to Srila Prabhupada. This question was asked in 1968, November 23rd, 1968 in Los Angeles. The title is up here, Bhagavad Gita as it is, Introduction, November 23rd, 1968, Los Angeles. So Narayan, what is the proper relationship of the devotee to Radha, Radhika? So that was your question to Srila Prabhupada. See it right here? Then Srila Prabhupada answers. Rupa Manjari Prabhu, can you read? You read half, I read half. You can start off.
Sure. Prabhupada, Radharani is Devi Maya, just like we are in our material conditional life. We are under the material energy. Similarly, in our liberated state, we have to become under the spiritual energy. That spiritual energy is Radharani. We are acting at the present moment under material energy because our body is made of material energy. So when you are liberated, you will develop your body of spiritual energy. That spiritual energy is Radharani. So you have to become under the control of some energy. You are also energy. You are marginal energy. Marginal energy means you may be under the control of the spiritual energy, or you may be under the control of material energy. Your marginal position. But when you are under the control of the material energy, that is your precarious condition, struggle for existence. And when you are under spiritual energy, that is your life of freedom. Radharani is spiritual energy, and Durga or Kali is material energy. So those who are materialists, they worship Durga, Kali, the material different forms of material energy. And so in both the cases, there is a word in Sanskrit, it is called Shakta, Shakta. Shakta, the word comes from Shakti. Shakti means material, means energy. So there is a division that those who are worshipper of the Supreme as Mother, just like the worshipper of Goddess Kali, that means those who are accepting the Absolute as Mother, they are called Shakta, the Shakta. The Vaishnava, they are also Shakta because they are also accepting another pure energy, personal energy, or internal energy of Krishna. That is also Shakti. And the materialist also, they are also accepting another energy. The one energy, spiritual energy, is in our normal condition, and material energy is our abnormal condition. The Krishna consciousness practice means you have to transfer yourself from this material energy to from the control of material energy, under the control of spiritual energy. That's all. That spiritual energy is Radharani. You have to become under the control. That, I'll give you one concrete example. Just like a person is always under the control of the government as citizen. When he is outlaw, he is under the criminal law, and who is law abiding, he is under civil law. He cannot say that I cannot remain within the law of the government. He has to. That is his position. Artificially, he may deny, but he will be forced. Similarly, our position is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. And as part and parcel, we have to render service. If we voluntarily render service out of love, that is spiritual energy. And we are forced to render service under pressure, that is material energy. In the material energy, we are forced. Who wants to become, suppose you are American. If somebody says, would you like to become a dog next life? Would you like? Anybody would like? What do you think? But according to his work, he will be forced to accept. There is no saying, no, I don't like this sort of life. No, he will be forced. That is material energy. Forced, just like criminal law. Oh, you have to go to the prison. I don't want. Oh, you will be forced. Why don't want to? Why don't want? He will be arrested immediately. There is sufficient power. There is police, there is military, there is so many things. You cannot say no. So this is intelligence that I have to serve. Now in my material condition, I am serving so many things, especially my senses. So neither my senses are satisfied nor I am satisfied. So this intelligence is not coming to us. They are going on. Charvita charvananam, chewing the chewed. The senses, same sense gratification in different ways. In theater, in stage, at home, at club, everywhere. Simply changing the platform and trying to be happy. How can you be happy?
Should I read? Or you want to continue?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Okay. And they already distasted. Does it mean that sense gratification in an apartment and sense gratification in the club is different? It is simply imagination. Quote, let me go to club, let me go to the stage, let me go to this Florida beach, and let me go and let me go there. Let me see the naked dance. Let me see that. That's all. But the platform is there, sense gratification. But he is not intelligent that I have satisfied my senses in so many different ways. I've served my senses in so many different ways. Neither I am satisfied, neither my senses are satisfied. Therefore, the intelligent man says, I am no more going to satisfy my senses. I will satisfy Krishna. That is Krishna consciousness. Then he gets full satisfaction. This is voluntary. This is called surrender, that I have tried to satisfy the whims of my senses so many lives. I have become frustrated, confused. Let me try this life to satisfy the senses of Krishna. That's all. At least let me give a trial one life and let me see the result. So our Krishna consciousness movement means that we are requesting everyone that give a little trial this life at least. You have satisfied your senses in so many forms of life, huh? The dogs also satisfied their senses. The cat also satisfied his senses, the tiger, and these civilized, uncivilized, these guard everyone. Now, you don't try to satisfy your senses, you try to satisfy Krishna. That's all. And Krishna being full, complete. If Krishna is satisfied, your senses will be satisfied automatically. Therefore, his name is Govinda. Govindam Adipurusham Tamam Vajami. Govinda means who satisfies the senses. Don't think that your senses will remain unsatisfied. It will be completely satisfied. That is the secret of Krishna consciousness. So have Sankirtan. Hare. What do you think, Narayan Prabhu? You asked a question.
What was the context? Was it in a classroom, I suppose?
This was in a Bhagavad Gita as it is introduction class. I guess let's go up. Let's see what it is. I guess it was a...
I asked the question. That's a huge answer.
Yeah, that's what I was going to... Yeah, you asked the question. That's a huge answer. That's what I was going to say.
It may be that I asked a question, then he turned it into his lecture.
No. He's already giving a... people are having a discussion here. People are asking him questions and Prabhupada is answering. So I guess you also asked him the question. This is the beginning of the class here. See it here? It's 71 minutes and what is 71 minutes long discussion. You see it? You asked the last question. You see it here? This is how long the lecture, the discussion is. 71 minutes.
But that didn't take that long to read.
Oh, we just read your question.
Oh, What are you
part.
saying? There were other questions also?
Yeah, other questions. So this was your question here. What is the proper relationship of the devotee to Radhika, Radha or Radhika? Then Prabhupada goes into answering it. That was the last question on that tape.
And that was in what, September?
No, November 23rd, 1968.
Yeah, that's after I came back from Seattle. After we all, Prabhupada also came back from Seattle and then went to Los Angeles.
Yeah. So anyways, I
That's
thought,
an amazing answer.
yeah. Try. Okay. Okay. So that's that. You want to say anything about this, Narayana Prabhu or Rupa Manjari? Anyone?
Who's on board?
We got Mohit Prabhu, Rupa Manjari. Who else we have?
Jai
That's it.
Mohit Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Jai. Haribo, Dandavad Pranam, Prabhu.
I was very impressed by Friday, the way you ran the program. It was wonderful.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Haribo, all glory to Srila Prabhupada, all Krishna's mercy.
Yes. That's what Prabhupada just said in what Rachandra and Rupa Manjari just read out loud. It is the mercy of Krishna.
This is very interesting. Where Prabhupada is saying, you asked the question, what is the proper relationship of the devotee to Radhika? Radhika. Radharani is Daiva Maya. Just like we are in our material condition life, we are under the material energy. Similarly, yes, similarly, in our liberated state, we have to come under the spiritual energy. So the guru or the guru should be under the divine energy of Radharani here, according to what Prabhupada is saying. Similarly, in your liberated state, we have to come under the spiritual energy. That spiritual energy is Radharani. So the pure devotee is exactly, there's no question of falling down for a pure devotee if you understand what is being said here, right? Similarly, in your liberated state, we have to come under the spiritual energy. That is that spiritual energy is Radharani.
Yeah.
So this is this point right here. So if someone is under the spiritual energy, which is Radharani herself, how can there be any question of falling down or not being a guru?
Yeah. Well, yes. You see, because here's just the fine tuning of the very point which we're sneaking up on with our recent episodes of the League for 10K is, are we going to be operating under Mahamaya or under Yogamaya?
Try.
Under Radharani or under Durga?
Yes.
And Kali. And that's the big question, because it appears that the GBC, everybody, they were completely obsessed with operating inside of Durga, not operating inside of Radharani.
Yes.
If they were, they would be a feeling of upliftment whenever you came across any of them.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
You know, of course, there's some degree of upliftment if you come across a sannyasi or a bunch of sannyasis in Mayapur. Oh, it looks, because they've narrowed themselves down to a very small common denominator. So they seem to be very spiritual, etc. But when you get down to it, you really have to stand back and say, does this person see himself as his body or spirit soul? If he sees himself as spirit soul, he will be an exalted personality under the control of Radharani. If he sees himself as his body, then he's just refining his material consciousness. And my contention is that right now, the GBC and others of the same persuasion have made a point of, being under the subtle control of material energy, the control of subtle material energy. not gross. They're not busy having barbecues, but they are under, presumably. And so, no, they're subtle energy. They are still there, clinging to profit, adoration, and distinction. So if you're clinging to profit, adoration, and distinction, where is the surrender? Where is any surrender? Do you see what I mean?
Yes.
So I agree with you 100%. Go ahead, speak further if you wish.
So then Prabhupada says we are acting at the present moment under material energy because our body is made of material energy. So when you are liberated, you will develop your body of spiritual energy. That spiritual energy is Radharani. So there goes the question.
And that is the platform that we want for ISKCON.
Hmm.
Obviously, we can't just jump into a spiritual energy, but we can make a commitment. We're not going to talk from the material platform. We're going to try to talk from Jivatma platform of spirit soul, meaning under the control of Radharani.
Jai. So where's the question of having, questionable people as gurus when they're not even under the spiritual energy of Radharani? And then if you're under the shelter of Radharani, that means you have a relationship with, that person, right? If you're under the...
Well, I've been writing recently, I read it somewhere, maybe on a WhatsApp page, but that the whole question of the gurus are simply to maintain the materialism of the ISKCON movement. To make the ISKCON a material thing, you need material leaders. Do they, just ask ourselves, it says right there in Nectar of Instruction, insufficient guidance. Does that slow them down? Or do they say, insufficient? Well, I guess it's good enough. They go with that. Insufficient guidance, gotta have it, because without it, we have no guidance. But that's crazy. It's delusional. We have to say, we don't need insufficient guidance. We can have perfect guidance. And the Kanista Adhikaris, instead of being gurus, they should be persons helping us to understand Prabhupada's books.
Jai.
That Prabhupada is the guru, and they are to help us, not that they will say, I'm a second-hand guru, or a baby guru, or a neophyte guru, or a not yet fallen down guru. Or maybe fallen down and gotten back up again guru. It's pointless. My view is let's drop it all. Let's drop everything up to 1970, meaning when they rebelled against Prabhupada, usurped his movement, stated clearly that they were not going to obey the election process, GVC. When they did that, then ISKCON, for all practical purposes, it didn't come to an end. It hadn't really started yet.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Narayan. I'll cut you off.
Okay, for ISKCON to start, each temple has to be individually incorporated. For ISKCON to start, the GBC has to be elected, which provides a backup, a rich, tapestried, delicious backup group for new temples opening. But no control over the temples opening.
Yeah. So when you are liberated,
Go ahead.
So when you are liberated, you will develop your body of spiritual energy. That spiritual energy is Radharani. So Srila Prabhupada says in his prayers coming to the United States, he talks about these things,
What does he say?
He says that Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he talks about him, his spiritual master is very dear to Radharani.
Yes.
And in this way, he's following the orders of his spiritual master. And Srila Prabhupada is also very dear to Radharani. That's why he's carrying.
Therefore, obeying Prabhupada is surrender, is Krishna consciousness.
Yes.
disobeying Prabhupada doesn't work. It in the end, it collapses as it's collapsing right now. The
Right.
female Diksha gurus are just a small glitch, a small pimple on the otherwise nice flesh of a concept. But that's not the big problem. The problem is they disobeyed from 1970. Now they're facing the fact they can't go forward at all. They've been cut off from it, and the ICC is cutting them off from it. The GBC is cut off from it, and the League is cut off from it. So this is a time for this message that we have, that we're delivering, to become obvious. And I think the more it's spoken as a fact, the more obvious it becomes. Just like saying, well, this guru is this. No, we have a guru, Uttamadakari, Prabhupada. You want to put another guru, what's he going to do? If he can't do what Prabhupada's doing, then he shouldn't be a guru. He should just be a senior godbrother
Yes.
and help us all to advance.
Joy.
So go ahead.
And then I'd like to bring emphasis to this point here. I'm going to highlight it so people, devotees online, can see. It's saying, and when you are under spiritual energy, that is your life of freedom. This point here. And when you are under spiritual energy, that is your life of freedom. So how can we develop this without obedience to Srila Prabhupada? You get what I'm saying? That is otherwise, what freedom do you have? You have the freedom of...
They are not looking for ISKCON, GBC, who don't exist and haven't existed since 1970, 50 years they haven't existed. We got to get used to that. They don't. They don't have it. They're not interested in spiritual energy. When Bhakta Gosha was talking, he wasn't talking about spiritual energy. He was talking about maneuvering the rules so that you wouldn't have female Diksha gurus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, he wasn't talking about pure spirit soul. And I started bringing that question up. He said, what do I know? I mean, why don't you read it? It's in Prabhupada's books, like that, without any regard for that this was the key question.
Yes, so that was apparent in his writings.
Let's just say, compared to you and me, or Rupa, or anybody, or any of us, that he is a key player in ISKCON, right?
Yes.
So if he's a key player or an important player in ISKCON, and if he has no inkling of spiritual life being the goal of ISKCON, then it's clear, is it not, that he simply wants a religion.
Yeah.
Religion,
Yes.
like any other religion. And that the guru is simply the priest that keeps that religion from falling into pieces. And you have a scripture which you can read, and then he's looking for other shastras to read also, because the scripture Prabhupada wrote apparently doesn't satisfy his curiosity as to how to run a religion instead of a spiritual movement. So he wants to go to other shastras that tell you more about how to run a organization of people with priests running it.
So how would you, Prabhupada set up an international society for Krishna consciousness, and he had a specific, like here, it's saying we have to come under the energy, spiritual energy of Radharani. So ISKCON, which is going on right now, seemingly enough, seems like it's going on, you know, people are saying ISKCON is exploding in India or growing like anything in India. But what is exactly going on? Is it that they're just
it's becoming more and more of a religion. Now remember Bhakti Thakur Bhaktivinoda, the Acharya speaks in that pure sound vibration, right?
Right.
When he speaks in his absolute platform. If he speaks to another pure devotee, like himself, and if one Acharya speaks to other Acharya, they can share because they're on the same transcendental platform of pure Krishna consciousness under the shelter of Radharani. But the minute that the pure devotee, like Thakur Bhaktivinoda or Prabhupada, speaks to a human being, like you or me, we think we've got the teaching because we're used to going to school and being taught by college professors, right? We're used to being taught.
Right.
So we say, that's what he's teaching, and I'm learning it, and I'm doing pretty good at learning it. That's not the point. The main point is the minute that the pure devotee speaks transcendental knowledge to even a most high quality disciple, that disciple is sectarian because he brings to that, not the conversation, he doesn't have to say anything at all. He comes to that contact with the words of the pure devotee. He comes there with thousands, millions of previous births bearing on his hearing capacity. So if he hears it in terms of what he already knows. He hears it in terms of what he thinks he's hearing. You see what I mean? It's all supposition. The first hearer of the pure devotee doesn't have anything pure by himself because he's simply accepting as pure his perception of the actual pure. Does that make sense?
One example which can be drawn from this is that when Srila Prabhupada came to America in 1965 and then started the worldwide movement, 1966 incorporated ISKCON, the Western devotees, which you guys were not very much exposed to this Krishna consciousness, because you guys did have some background in religion, but not, this Krishna consciousness, you guys took it up. But the Hindus, when they came in, or when Prabhupada tried to preach to them, they were not so fortunate in that regard because they were, what can you say?
They already knew it all.
They already knew it all.
Because it's hard. Prabhupada even says that. Rupa Manjari, didn't you read something to me today about how in India they already know all these things?
I don't think so.
You did, didn't you? Didn't you read me something that Prabhupada had said?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that they already knew about an accepted reincarnation.
They know, but the problem with knowing, it's like Prabhupada says, waking a man who's asleep, he wakes up. When you wake a man who's pretending to be asleep, he doesn't wake up because he's already awake and he's pretending to be asleep. So the Hindus are pretending to be asleep, and you can't wake them up. You can, but I mean, that's a particular challenge. When Prabhupada wrote that was before now. Now what the world that Mohit and others are living in right now, the Indians are abandoning the tradition of Indian tradition like crazy and taking up everything cyber, Indian Institute for IIT, to Silicon Valley, and they're doing everything. And they could do with their cell phone, they can deprogram themselves from Indian culture within a few days.
Prabhu,
Not to speak of a few weeks or a few years.
So they've been fascinated by West. Yeah, Prabhu. So they have been fascinated by Western culture. They are like wearing Western clothes and then entrepreneurship. People going to Silicon Valley and they want to follow that because they have not got that. This is human nature, right, Prabhu? Whatever they don't get, they think that.
Human nature is the key. When Prabhupada was speaking, he was talking like in the early 70s to the innocent Indians that had not yet been completely devoured by cyber technology. There was no cyber technology.
But being in poverty,
in those days, cell phones hadn't been invented yet.
Yes,
but most of the Yeah. Because Britishers came, no, they played that divide and rule. So they made these religions separately, and then the poorer couldn't get the benefit of Vedic literature because he was forced into, I mean, labor, or what do we call it? Forced labor. So the poor,
Yeah.
then India became a poor country, and then they are following all the Western cultures now. Yeah,
Yeah. And even a person born in a very nice Brahmin family, he has to become a menial servant in a British house.
exactly. Yeah.
That's what Prabhupada did, our Acharya in our line, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti, he wrote some Samsara Davanada Lita Loka, right?
Yes.
So Vishwanath Chakravarti is a saint. Chakravarti is a saintly Bengali name, right?
Hmm.
Yes,
And what the British ended up calling Chakravarti, you probably know, but I'll just say Chatterjee. So Chakravarti became Chatterjee
It's a
when he
Bengali
became
name.
a servant to the British. But Chakravarti is a saintly,
Acha.
holy name of a saintly person. Come here, Chatterjee. He treated him like
So Prabhu
inferior.
Chatterjee is given by Britishers. It's an
Yeah,
inferior name.
Chatterjee means Chakravarti.
Okay.
Well, you know Chakravarti, right?
Yeah.
It's a Bengali name.
Mm.
And then Mukherjee, Chatterjee, Banerjee, these are all distortions of high level Brahminical names.
Acha.
They just took the name, threw it on the ground like mud, and pushed the man's face into it and rubbed his face into it. Chatterjee, Banerjee, Mukherjee. So it's very, very, very indignified. And people still go by Chatterjee or Mukherjee or Banerjee. They keep the name as a family name. They don't go back to the original, even after independence of India. But yeah, we're getting carried away. The main point is to talk about, made it very clear that the minute that you utter the pure sound vibration, whether it's you, whether it's Krishna, Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta, or anyone on that absolute level, as soon as they utter the name, whoever hears it changes it to something in the material world. He may accept the essential vibration of the holy sound vibration of this pure devotee. He can accept that vibration. But having accepted the vibration, when he tries to understand it, he can only understand it. If he's Hindu, he'll understand it in terms of Indian culture. If he's Westerner, Catholic, he'll understand it in terms of Catholicism. If he's Jewish, he'll understand it in terms of Judaism.
We have a question. We have a question from one of our devotees online. He's in Vrindavan right now. He's been serving the cows in Vrindavan and posting wonderful videos that I constantly watch. His name is Nityananda Modli. Prabhu is asking, he asked a very funny question, but anyways, what will happen to ISKCON when the last fake guru leaves the planet? Basically, what is the future predictions of Srila Prabhupada's ISKCON movement if things continue the way it's going on at the present moment?
Okay, I will say loudly, clearly, like a trumpet, like a bell, like a conch shell, there is no ISKCON movement. ISKCON ended in 1970 when they refused to obey Prabhupada. Can you imagine you have a guru, ordinary guru, what to speak about Uttama Adhikari devotee like Prabhupada, ended. ISKCON ended them. If we can grasp that, then we know where to begin again. We cannot begin until we've accepted everything that Prabhupada said as coming from Krishna. And if we say GBC, not elected GBC is okay, that's not coming from Krishna. So what are we talking about? What's going to happen? They don't have to be called ISKCON, doesn't have to be called GBC. They can be called
I call them the franchise.
What? Yeah, they call it anything you like. They call themselves like that in order, just like Christians. They don't have any care for Christ, but they call Christian, therefore they invoke the name of Christ. So they're invoking the name of Iskand. Oh, Iskand. Well, where is it? Show me Iskand. And then if you say the Acharya, where's the Acharya? Well, show me the Guru. Show me who's the Guru. No, it stopped in 1970. That, as the League of 10K, we should make that our first line in the sand. We have to say, ISKCON stopped. You want to talk about ISKCON? You can't. It hasn't started yet. If you want ISKCON, then make a provision that we declare the GBC must be elected. What about gurus? The GBC appoints them. If you don't have a GBC, you can't appoint them. I mean, come on, do the math. It's like A plus B equals C. If you want ISKCON gurus, then first you have to have a GBC. If you have a GBC that's not elected, you have to get rid of them because they are criminals. Literally criminals. They stole from Krishna, stole from Prabhupada. You know, of course, we're all stealing from Krishna. If I see a fruit on the tree and I pick it and I eat it without offering it, I'm stealing from Krishna. Yeah, but this is on a bigger scale. When the Acharya shows up, the way Prabhupada did, when the Yuga Avatar shows up, gives us the holy name. A Shakti Avatar, holy name. That holy name is now available to anyone and everyone. The only difference between the holy name being on a page or on a recording of Prabhupada and in the ears of the population, the only missing part is us. We are the missing part because we're not taking the holy name from the book or the recording and giving it to the ear of the population. What about Shastra? What about this? What about gurus? What about positions? What about this? What about that? Eliminate them. There's only one thing you need. Get the holy name, distribute the holy name. How many gurus do you need to tell you to chant Hare Krishna?
One, Prabhupada, that's it.
Yeah. And evidently, if you have other gurus, they don't tell you to chant Hare Krishna. So where's all the wild Sankirtan parties going through every village? Where is people concerned that the ordinary human being and the animals and the insects and the trees and the grass and wheat in the fields, who is concerned that they will go back to Godhead? Or is it just a certain people said, I'm saved, I'm a member of ISKCON, I have my ISKCON guru, I'm going to go back to Godhead. And these other people, they can all go take a long walk over a short pier. They can go to hell. Who cares about them? So how quickly do you think that person will go back to Godhead? Supposing he says that out loud and Krishna hears him say that, is Krishna going to say, oh, you poor thing, come here, I'm going to take care of you? That's not the Uttamadhikari. To become an Uttamadhikari, you have to please Krishna by what you're doing, and he will reciprocate when he's pleased. That's what it takes. And if you think I'm going to die and go to Krishna Loka, you'll be lucky if you become a grain of sand. I mean, you better hope you're not going to go to Krishna Loka at the end of this lifetime. Or you're going to have a very low-level existence in Krishna Loka. Like a grain of sand or a drop of water. Hello, where is everybody?
Okay, so we're here. So that question got answered. So let's continue. Who's that?
Did the question get answered?
Chai. Yeah. Yes. I told him your question was answered. So he didn't reply yet.
Does he feel it's answered, or does he want more answer?
That he'll get back to me because he's not watching right now. I told him where it was answered. He watched part of it, but he's not online right now, so he cannot say.
Okay, fine.
Jai. All right. So let's see if I wanted some more discussion. So here Prabhupada is saying those who are materialists, they worship Durga, Kali, the material, different forms of material energy. So we see that Prabhupada established Vishnu Tattva Murtis, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his deity form.
Yeah.
So if we call them materialist, then they should be worshiping Durga. So how can we understand this?
Wait. If who materialist?
Well, these devotees who are in ISKCON, they're more situated towards the material side than the spiritual side. No?
That's true and it's not true. They've set it up like a religion. And religion means leads you to God someday.
Okay.
That's what a religion does. It takes you someday to God. With Lord Chaitanya as the Yuga Avatar, immediately, chant Hare Krishna, you got God. You don't have to go through religion anymore. But ISKCON, because they want their, what do you want to call it? Eating, sleeping, mating, defending religion, they have to have gurus to manage it. So that's not the same thing as being a materialist. It just means that you're not embracing the gift of the holy name as it is. But ISKCON is still a place of refuge. Even right now, ISKCON is a place of refuge, although there's a whole bunch of problems. Gurus are getting in the way, no chanting in the streets getting in the way, changed books getting in the way, ghastly changed kirtans getting in the way. There's all sorts of things. But as long as the basic program is going on that Prabhupada gave, and the deity worship is about the best thing that's going on right now in the ISKCON temples, as long as those things are going on, ISKCON is a refuge. But from our point of view, ISKCON doesn't exist until we go back to 1970 and then move forward from there. Then the ISKCON that is there, the people in it will say, this sounds better than what we've got. Can we have it? And we say, take it. It's yours. Yes, you can have it. Why not have it? It's what you were meant to have in the first place. See, all we're doing is giving people what Prabhupada wanted them to have. And what the gurus are doing is saying, this is what the GBC is willing to let you have. And who's the guru? Well, the guru is there from the GBC to keep you under control, so that you can donate money, so that you can do work, that you can do this and you can do that. Well, what's the purpose of Krishna consciousness movement? Oh, to be a good devotee in the temple. Well, yes, that's nice, because even if you in the attitude of ISKCON today, it may take 100 births in ISKCON today to come to the point of view of realizing what is Krishna consciousness movement for. It will take a long time because they're not being told that in the classes. They're being told to observe this as a religion. And then, as Bhagavan said to his disciple, oh, I will take you back to God. Oh, yes. But even the GBC will not make that declaration.
So you can say that the present devotees who are joining ISKCON, they are being dumbed down to a very large degree by insufficient guidance, different policies, contracts, and all these things that get in the middle.
They should take all the GBC minutes, all the results of all the conversations the GBC has had in Mayapur for 50 years, take them and burn them. There may be things that need to be kept, but in essence, discard them. It has nothing to do with ISKCON of today or tomorrow.
When you sign up with a so-called guru in ISKCON, they make you sign a waiver that the GBC neither supports nor endorses this guru to be a pure devotee. He can fall down at any time, and this by signing this paperwork. They have some paperwork like that where the GBC is not approving them or disapproving them.
And they
Exactly.
and also with that paperwork, you have to pledge your allegiance to the GBC as the topmost ecclesiastical authority of ISKCON.
Yeah. So
Reward.
that's not going to last very much longer. And we don't need to argue with them. We don't need to tell them you're bad, bad GBC. We don't say you're not even GBC. How can you be bad GBC if you're not even GBC? You're gangsters, mafia. You stole
Is this seriously
ISKCON
being signed?
right under our nose, right under my nose. They stole ISKCON from Prabhupada. And I didn't take a gun and start shooting him, which would have been a good idea. You see what I mean?
Yes, Mohit Prabhu, you wanted to say something. I muted you. I thought you were talking to someone else. But go ahead, Prabhu.
Sorry, bro. So is this seriously been signed, bro? You have to sign this document,
Yes.
and people join ISKCON.
If you want to become an initiated disciple of the appointed gurus, yes, you have to sign it. You have to sign it to say that if something goes wrong with the guru, if he runs away with all the money, you are doing it willingly and you won't take any legal action against the society.
So it's the real reality which you're getting, right?
It's called an escape clause in legal terms, and also release of liability. You're signing away. Well, this happens if you're going to buy a car. This car has a limited warranty, it has a limited ownership thing, and it's limited liability of the manufacturer. Aside from that, it's your car and it's your problem. So that's what they're saying. You take the screw, it's your problem. And then, but you have to sign that the GBC is the highest authority, which is an oxymoron, because if they're the highest authority, then they can't say that it's your problem if you take the guru.
Okay.
Otherwise, what's the meaning? Anyhow, why are we talking about GBC? They need to be stretched out in the sun and dried. Their corpses need to be dried in the sun until they become, what do you call it? Beef jerky, GBC jerky. There's nothing to be said for them. There's nothing to be said except, why are you still there?
Vinayak Prabhu has a question. Go ahead, Vinayak.
So for how long does this signing process is going on? Like when it started, when devotees were asked to sign a document?
When?
When it started, when they were asked to sign a document, like when this system started in ISKCON.
Haribol is asking which year this happened.
When did they introduce that policy?
Which year this clause was happened? He's asking this, Haribol.
It's been some time here. I've known it since I came in contact with the local ISKCON of Sacramento people. They sign agreements like this. So when you
a minimum of 10 years.
Yes, a minimum of 10 years.
Probably as part of the settlement of when the ISKCON Guru Kulis were suing ISKCON and stuff like that. Probably about that time they created
2004
protective language, so that if you get into ISKCON, you got in on your own, not because of anybody else.
I mean, everyone can.
Why do it? You see, if we go to the conclusion, why are we concerned? They're thieves. And why are we concerned by the rules that the thieves have created to make sure that the rightful owners never get their plates back again?
So Prabhu, what is the solution for the concerns?
What is the concern?
What is the solution? Like solution?
The solution is very simple. The League for 10K, us, we're the solution. What is our solution? Go back to 1970. Well, what about the GBC? They are after 1970. Not to me, they're not. Not to us. The League of 10K does not recognize the GBC after 1970. You can go to an ISKCON temple, that's fine. They have deities, they have prasadam, have fun. But if you want the movement to continue, can't do it that way.
Exactly what I do, bro. Yeah. So I just go to Vrindavan, have darshans, have prasadam, and come back.
hopefully because of your participation here, hopefully it indicates that that we will become a voice that people want to hear. See, we're not going to force anybody. We're not going to sue anybody. We don't need to. Krishna consciousness is voluntary membership. What we want to do is to attract people. And we can attract people only when we tell the truth that is sweeter than what they are being fed.
So Prabhu, how will we make sure that people will listen to what we are saying? Like, why would anyone accept what we are saying?
We're working on our website, which will be coming up more and more rapidly in the near future. And we need to figure out more and more ways to broadcast. Once we have a theology established for ourselves, then anyone can give a lecture. I noticed there's so many people on WhatsApp. So-and-so is live now. So-and-so is live now. So once we have our theology nailed down, then we can have people work from that theology. You see what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
In other words, if we're saying the ISKCON ended 50 years ago in 1970, 52 years ago, if we say that, we can say that on WhatsApp. We can have 20, 30, 40 people preaching from that particular gospel. What we're creating is a new gospel around ISKCON. ISKCON has evolved or devolved into the mess that it is now. We need to create standards and then preach from those standards. When we preach from those standards, it's impossible that the human beings, some of them current ISKCON members and some of them perhaps not, it's impossible that they will not find it attractive. You see what I mean? How can people not find it attractive to have Prabhupada as their guru? The only people who don't want Prabhupada as the guru are the people that wanted to hold the movement hostage, and that isn't the new gurus. The new gurus are completely dispensable. The people that want to hold the movement hostage is the GBC. It's control. We have to get them not only to stop controlling, we have to get the ISKCON no longer international. We have to create a transition team of lawyers to get ISKCON away from being international society of one corporation, and that the international society will be each individual temple. You know, it may seem like a big stretch right now, but why not? I mean, Christianity spread like that also. They changed so many things. All we're changing is back to the original status that Krishna gave Prabhupada to give us. Is that too much to ask? And if we put it that way, if somebody like yourself or someone goes on and said, Mohit is alive now or something, and say, we are saying that we're giving ISKCON before it was challenged and overthrown by the GBC, who refused to accept Prabhupada as their teacher or guru. They did, they refused. And yet now they're gurus, and they're creating gurus. So what are you going to do? You can't undo that. You can't unstitch every stitch. You just throw the whole thing out because it doesn't have any bearing. But we have to replace it with what Prabhupada gave us in 1966. Very easy to do. Technically, legally, very easy to do.
So, Prabhu, how about like getting senior disciples like yourself, your god brothers into League of 10K? Like generally, like speaking in plain terms, why is it that we see only you speaking on internet about these issues? Why our other god brothers are not supporting?
Because no one has thought of the League for 10K yet. Do you see what I mean? They're all struggling inside or outside of the GBC structure of ISKCON. I'm saying eliminate the GBC structure of ISKCON because Prabhupada never accepted it.
Like if those senior god brothers of yourself, if they come to League of 10K, then they may attract others also to come.
They will join us or they will object to what we're saying.
So like many of them, they follow these things, like they agree to that books should not be changes and initiator should be Prabhupada.
These are all parts of the puzzle, that they're not the entire puzzle. Yeah, so why did they change the books? Right? They changed the books because they wanted to change the conclusion of the books. Why did they want to change the conclusion of the books? They want to make it friendly for gurus that are just neophytes. Because they're trying to make it into a church, like the Catholic Church, a structure. And we don't want that. We want the original Krishna consciousness. People will find it attractive. If not, the members, the senior members of ISKCON may or may not find it attractive. If they use their noodle, meaning their brain, if they think carefully, they will find it attractive. There's nothing unattractive about it. But if they're in the GBC and they're locked into money-making schemes and they have real estate in Mayapur and they're busy controlling stuff and controlling temples, they may not want to give that up. So fine, don't give it up. Continue. But we will make a counter movement based on the reality. And my prediction is not today, not tomorrow, not next week, maybe not in 2 years, but it's maybe in 2 years. But at some point, I think it could be in 1 or 2 years if we continue at building rapid progress. If we can do that as we're going right now and continue, then what will happen is people will rapidly identify that what we're doing is preferable to what they're getting in the ISKCON temple. And when they do that, they can go to the ISKCON temple and say, we want what is being said with the League for 10K, not what you're saying. And they'll say, well, we have to go under GBC, etc. I say, I propose that this temple reject the GBC. Not all the temples, one temple. This one temple reject the GBC. And we will simply take up what Prabhupada wanted, how he wanted it. And this will take some adjustment because there's a lot of people making a lot of money that don't want to lose a lot of money. You see what I'm saying? But can it be done? Well, what's the alternative? We have people in the management of ISKCON, in the ICC and in the bureau, who say they don't think this can go on for very much longer. So if it can't go on longer, then what's there to lose? You see what I mean?
Yeah.
If they can't go much longer, what we're offering, what we're suggesting, will go on longer. We're going to go to the extreme, as I did on Friday, of declaring, hey, raise your hand if you're willing to stay here till the end of the golden age of Kali as a pure devotee, chanting Hare Krishna, surrounded by other pure devotees, so that everything in Krishna consciousness life will be sublime. 10% of the population or 100%, whichever. But we continue like that to broadcast for 9,400 more years. Oh, I want to go back to Godhead in the end of my lifetime. Okay, what do you want to do in Krishna Loka at the end of your lifetime? Put it more plainly, what will you be prepared to do or qualified to do at the end of this lifetime? If you're an ISKCON politician, GBC guy, what are you going to be qualified to do in Krishna Loka? I would say the answer is nothing. What if you're a pujari what if you're a sincere devotee in ISKCON, following everything, and you die and you want to go back to Krishna Loka? Well, you will not take a very prominent role because you haven't gone through the process of reciprocal relationship with Krishna. If you want a nice rasa with Krishna, you have to offer, he has to accept, he has to respond, and you have to respond to his response. Like that, then you can have a nice relationship in Krishna Loka. But if you just want to die and think that God is looking down ready to pick you up by your sika and drag you to Krishna Loka, that's not what happens. That's not how it works. If it did work like that, your life in Krishna Loka would not be very nice. It would not be blissful. What do you think? That people go to Krishna Loka and they get on folding chairs and sit down in a big room in folding chairs saying, okay, here I am, what's my rasa now? No, you can't go to Krishna Loka if you don't have a rasa with Krishna. Srila Prabhupada understated that to a very strong degree, because who would take up chanting if they thought it was going to take some time to get there? But once you get into it as a Kanisa Adhikari, and you know, if you're properly taught by the ISKCON temple presidents and people like that, or whoever is doing the officiating acharya work for Prabhupada to initiate people and to teach them and to give them Brahman initiation and to get them married and to give the children a chance to pick between books and coins. That person can give you so much knowledge, but right now they're doing the opposite. They're enforcing ignorance. Sorry, I'm talking too much. What do you want to say?
Yeah, Prabhu, but it does not answer the my question that was there.
Okay, what is your question? I will try to answer it point blank.
How can we get the senior disciples like yourself into League of 10K? Because many of them, like Janara and Prabhu, they all agree to your opinion, but they are not very much vocal about it.
Well, we need to talk to them and convince them, or maybe accept that we can't. We have to deal with people that are in your age, not their age. We could say we can try to bring them in. I would say if we get a lot of people your age, and Ramachandra's age, Rupa Manjari's age, people that are young, if we get that many people in, then the people like Jainaran will come on their own, seeing that it's very nice and blissful and pleasurable.
But Prabhu, people of my age are dependent on guidance of seniors. And if seniors are coming, then people of my age will come.
Nah, don't, please. Do you really believe that?
Oh.
Really, seriously. I mean, there's something that a senior can tell you that Prabhupada's book cannot tell you, that if you put on headphones and listen to his lecture, that Prabhupada cannot tell you. How many things in ISKCON that are there to free for the taking? Books, kirtans, lectures, Vanapedia. How many things in ISKCON are there that are free and open that you need a senior devotee give you?
No, I'm talking about different thing, like about these issues that we have been talking in this ISKCON about officiating acharyas.
We don't need any senior devotees to accept
so
it.
how will, like, most of the people of my age are into ISKCON and they are brainwashed into Guru theory. So in order to get them into our thought, we need to get some good senior representation, like yourself and your god brothers of that time.
Then you become senior. We don't need, that's a whole hoax that we need some smart guy. What does this,
He's already a senior.
anybody who comes into ISKCON who's been here for 40, 50 years, anyone who's been here that long is already been driven crazy by lies. It will take him longer to get the truth than you.
Prabhu is already a senior in Japan. I mean, in Tokyo specifically. I've heard of him, bro.
I'm not
Vinayak Prabhu.
I'm not
It doesn't matter. If a person is senior and wants to agree with what we're saying, let him sit, let him agree. If you want to put it up for a vote, I don't subject it to a vote. It's not votable. It's either true or it's not true. You don't have to vote on it.
Okay, bro.
No problem.
So
like,
if you're looking for a democratic vote, yes, this what we're talking about at League for 10K is bona fide. You don't need to take a vote to know what it's bona fide. You need to become a Kanista Adhikari and to realize that you have at your fingertips all of Prabhupada's Vani. I mean, there are so many lectures and so much katha from Srila Prabhupada, so many books. You will die of old age 4 times over before you get through it all. So what do we need? Some senior guy that's been completely deluded to tell us, oh yes, that's true. If you doubt that what I'm saying is true, fine, I welcome that. Think it through, figure it out. If what I'm saying is not true, then find out what is true.
Sure.
I mean, why do we have to vote on whether Narayan is telling the truth? Don't. Either I'm telling the truth or I'm not. And if I'm telling the truth, am I telling 100% truth or 90% truth or 80 or 3% truth? Use your own brain and figure it out. But if I say GBC doesn't exist, I don't think that takes Einstein to figure it out, right?
Yeah, but
they refuse to obey Prabhupada. Is that the standard of the disciple with his guru? You refuse to obey your guru. Is that disciple?
Now in front of them, they are seeing their leaders openly protesting against their gurus in India. So
they can say whatever they like, but when they do they accept the GBC?
Yeah, most of them.
Okay. But
Many
insofar
of
as they
them are
accept the
also in the
GBC,
impression that
they are accepting a lie. Prabhupada wanted the GBC to be elected every 3 years from
but
temple
nobody
president.
would believe it.
It's in black and white. It's in writing on a legal paper signed by Prabhupada and 12 people. Why won't they believe?
Because they don't read.
Well, then that's part of our job, isn't it? Part of the deal or website, and Rupa Manjari has been pushing me towards that, and I want, and it's obviously a fantastic thing to do. We need to put the whole direction of management up so people can see exactly to what degree they refused the direct written order of the spiritual master.
I think websites like those are already there on internet.
But most of the people already know, but they have made excuses. Just like everyone knows that Kanista Adhikari gives insufficient guidance. But then you talk to people, well, but we have because they can do the best they can, blah, 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 blah. Who said that? Prabhupada didn't say that. Rupa Goswami didn't say that. Why do they say that the Iskand Guru does the best as he can? No, he does insufficiently. Insufficient means, in plain terms, not enough. Why do I have to get a bunch of God brothers to say, yes, right, what you're saying is true? I don't need anyone to say it's true. I'm saying it's not. What I'm saying is true. And if you say it's not true, then I welcome. If you say what I'm saying, insufficient guidance is actually sufficient, then I welcome you saying that. Now to show me where I have made the mistake. and I will follow your example. If you're telling the truth that it is insufficient is sufficient, fine. I will accept it if you can prove it. But if you cannot prove it, then you should accept it when I say insufficient means not good enough. Isn't that pretty basic? Sufficient or insufficient? Which shall we have?
Yeah, but nobody is going to give their brains or their time to hear our arguments. They are behind.
Well,
nectar
that's why
and
we
they're
need to
just-
publish our arguments on our website, and you can help us.
Vinayak Prabhu, what I think is like the real problem is they don't accept what is written in the books, right? They read it, but they don't accept it. So
No.
acceptance.
And there's a
acceptance
reason
of
they don't
last point.
accept it.
Yeah.
They don't accept what's in the book. They accept what their initiating guru wants them to believe is in the book.
So it's like a Kanishta Adhikari not ready to accept the real master's instructions. So this is
Yeah.
what is going on.
So whether
They
they
will
want
just
that
read-
book,
They read everything, but they don't accept. Yeah, that's the point.
so if
No,
if
they
they
will
don't
just
accept
say one
Prabhupada's
thing,
books,
that,
then
we are
they are
not
going
qualified
against
enough.
Prabhupada. Because Prabhupada said, what happens when you die? And Prabhupada said, I will never die. And the disciples, oh, Jai, they were all clapping their hands. I will live forever in my books. You will read and utilize. If Prabhupada said that, why do the disciples not accept that?
Yeah, disciples, like new disciples would say that we are not qualified enough to understand Prabhupada's book, so we want our guru to explain us what is there in Prabhupada's book.
But Prabhupada said you are qualified to read his books.
But they will just believe whatever their guru says. They don't know. They
But
were
don't
not
you
at the
think,
time
Prabhu?
of Prabhupada. They
At
don't know
some
what
point,
Prabhupada
they're
said.
going to say to their guru, Shri Guruji, you're full of it. You're not telling me the truth
Vinayak
the
Prabhu,
way it's supposed to be told.
I guess
Well, I
Prabhupada
mean, Are
automatically
you going to
guides your
say
heart.
that this blunder is going to go on forever? It won't last for 10,000 years, that's for sure.
Not even 50 years. But maybe like after 50 years, ISKCON will be a Gaudiya Matha. Every guru having a different temple
No, it's
and
not
thousands
destiny.
of different gurus.
ISKCON has a different destiny. And guess who gets to make that destiny come true? Who?
Who?
Who gets to make this destiny come true?
Who?
You!
Oh my God.
You're in the league for 10K.
But
Whoever's
right
in
now,
the league for 10K, it's his duty to make Prabhupada's words the law of the land.
yeah, but right now, like we are
Right
observing
now,
that.
look, when you're starting a revolution, you can say right now we don't have more than 50 people to fight 1,000 people. Well, keep up your work. You'll end up getting 1,000 people to fight 1,000 people and you'll win. Napoleon didn't have anybody.
Maybe we
And yet
need
he
more
came out
ISKCON
and-
devotees like Madhu Pandit Prabhu to
Madhu Pandit's doing okay, but what we're
Yeah.
doing is a
To-
bigger scope
to
than
merge ISKCON into Prabhupada's movement, like to betray their gurus.
Madhu Pandit's doing wonderfully, but what we're doing is bigger than what Madhu Pandit's doing. Not physically bigger, not financially bigger. That's material. Why are we concerned about whether it's financially or physically bigger? Spiritually, it's bigger. Spiritually, we are saying we have to return to Prabhupada as he is from the beginning. And we have to recreate ISKCON as Prabhupada wanted it, not as the GBC forced us to accept it.
For that, we need the initial disciples of Prabhupada. Like many of them are living in oblivion, doing their silent bhajan.
Well,
and
if they want to, they
but
can come. We're inviting them, right?
they should come and
But
support
we've only
us
been
at
going a
least.
short time, and this intensity of preaching is only in the last month or two.
Because
So,
until
we-
Janarayan Prabhu came on our Zoom meetings, I did not even know that there is a disciple of Prabhupada with this name. that, and he also is agreeing to our philosophy. So
Oh,
if
yeah, he
those
will agree.
disciples who agree to
He agrees to
your
most of it.
philosophy, they must come on, like they must give at least their testimonials in our support.
Yes, exactly. So, but first of all, he has to know what we're doing. And so I'm suggesting to Ramachandra Prabhu to give him all the papers that we present. Like we presented a paper on Friday. I had hoped that Jai Narayan would be on Friday and he would see the paper, because when he came on, I think on Thursday or Wednesday or whatever it was, when he came on, he didn't understand how to format the program to get to the conclusions we're talking about right now, because he's so used to being anti-ISKCON. We can't be anti-ISKCON. ISKCON is Prabhupada.
Time's up for this meeting.
What?
Time is up for this meeting.
It is? Oh, we didn't get to do the other paper.
We started half an hour earlier, so.
Oh, no. We go till 10. So is there anything more we need to do this? Can you see that the truth is in the speaker of the truth, not in the person trying to join a group that's true? You can't join a group. There are no groups. Each jiva is an individual being. So there's no group. Each jiva meets another jiva. They don't create a group. You get 10 jivas together on the spiritual platform, no group. You have 10 individuals.
Right.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
I'm looking for a group. Okay. So have we, Ramachandra, have we finished this particular document to your satisfaction yet?
Yeah, I mean, anyone else, Vinayak Prabhu or anyone else? Shashi Kumar Prabhu is here. Prabhu, thank you for joining. You can ask any questions if you like, or share some realizations. Then we'll go to the next part of the reading.
Well,
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Because I'm very impressed, Ramachandra, that you picked this letter, this lecture that Prabhupada gave, because it definitely gives the key, which is not discussed. And the gurus do not discuss this. The GBC does not discuss these. But Prabhupada discussed it. I asked a question, which was sort of like a little off beat, a little off track. But when he answered it for the universe.
Jai, yes. So.
Okay, so let's go. You're in charge, so take us where you want to go.
All right. Okay. So we have about, we go till 10 o'clock. So we still got some time. All right. So let me go to that email. So we'll read that discussion and then we'll have a discussion on that. And in the meantime, if devotees have any realizations, questions, and people are watching online, we'll like them if they like the content of what we're discussing. And if they like to participate, they can join the WhatsApp group. The link is in the description of the video. Just click into the link. You must have WhatsApp installed on your phone. And then you can contact me, Narayan Prabhu, Vinayak, Mohit, or any one of us if you have any questions, realizations, or you want to connect with us. Feel free to jump
realize
in.
You're not part of a group. You're an individual, and make your step. Reach out with your right foot and lean forward and take a step. It's like on the moon landing, a giant step for humanity. So when you step forward in Krishna consciousness on this Zoom call, you're taking a giant step for the rest of humanity for the next till the end of the golden age of calling.
Always from the platform of the jiva.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, a lot of people, I mean, there was one devotee that just messaged me and he said, we're having Harinam Sankirtan and no one is joining us. I'm like, well, why isn't no one joining us? Because people are expecting to be part of some kind of group or something, this group think.
Well, where is he having it?
Here in Sacramento, he's having it, but.
Okay, first of all, he should stop calling it Harinam. Sankirtan. He says, let's call it Nagar Sankirtan.
Yeah.
Hari, that Rameshwar created to sell books. He wanted Sankirtan to be book distribution, Harinam to be occasional chanting, occasionally. Token chanting. But that's because Prabhupada saw the movement collapsing around him, so he emphasized books. But we don't have to emphasize books as much now. We emphasize them. But we don't have to emphasize them the way Prabhupada did at the time, in the mid-70s onwards, because we can now go towards the siddhanta of the books, the conclusion of the books, and then fulfill the purpose of the books. And that is Sankirtan. Nagar Sankirtan. Nagar means in the streets. So go ahead. Are you ready to move?
Yeah. Let's go ahead with reading that message to our devotee friend online in India. So let's see. Let me share the screen 1 second. All right. Let's see. So in the meantime, if anyone has any questions in the next few minutes, let's discuss. Otherwise, I'll put that email up.
Yes,
right.
But before you do that, could you ask everybody that's on and listening right now to not make a vote, but just give an idea. Do you think what we're talking about tonight is the right direction and that it will produce the right result in the end?
Well, let's, it's an individual thing. At least for it's an individual. Some people like the group think type and Kanishta Adhikari gurus. I mean, they feel.
I'm not talking about the people. You mean on our Zoom call they do?
No, I'm saying that. I'm talking about myself.
I'm talking about on our Zoom call.
Oh, yeah. For myself, I'm very.
People say yes, we're heading in the right direction. We should go more and more towards the taking more births and chanting and delivering more souls. If we become pure devotees, we'll be happy and we'll make others happy. Who is in favor of that? This is gradual for me too. So go ahead.
Well, I've been always in favor of chanting Hare Krishna and spreading Krishna consciousness. That's what I was doing when I joined the local ISKCON, band here. So that was my,
Yeah, but I'm talking about now with the League for 10K.
Oh, now even more, because we want this knowledge to go out and then everyone to benefit from it. That's why we're recording everything.
And can we accept that we must say that the GBC doesn't exist because nothing after, can we accept one principle, that nothing after 1970 existed as GBC or ISKCON?
Yes, they never followed the direction of management.
Right.
And then
so
everything.
Because people say, but ISKCON here, ISKCON there, we have so many ISKCON temples. That's just material. That's just churches. If we want real ISKCON, I'm saying, can we accept that it ended in 1970 and needs to be brought back to 1966 to bring it up to speed?
Yes.
Without worrying too much about what people are doing in temples.
Yeah, a lot of people are concerned what others are doing. So as people progress, I think they should leave that behind. They should see, okay, what am I doing and what am I doing to help others?
Yeah.
Understand this, what we're talking about.
That's spoken like a jiva.
Okay.
Jivas don't do groupthink. They are individuals. So keep on going.
Okay, so let's go to the email. 1 second here. Okay. Turn to Srila Prabhupada. Okay. I'm finding that email. 1 second.
I've seen the amazing Shashi Kumar is with us right now too.
Oh, yes, he joined us. Shashi Kumar Prabhu.
So did you find it?
Yes, 1 second. I'm projecting it on the screen.
Hare Prabhu, did you call me?
Hare Krishna, yes. Do you have any realizations, questions, anything you'd like to share
Well,
with
let's
us?
get on with this document and see how far we can go in the next 20 minutes.
All right, let me go to the document. it was called Return the Stolen GBC to Srila Prabhupada. Was that the document?
That's the one we did on Friday, I think. Rupa
Okay.
Manjari, what's it called?
I don't know.
You don't know. I sent
Okay,
it to
okay.
you.
I found it here. It's regarding future births.
Yeah, regarding future births.
All right, let's see here.
And don't put anybody's famous name on there. Just
Sure. Let me fix the screen. All right. Our friends. All
Happy
right.
Nityananda Triyodashi, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Jai. All right.
are we making it happen?
Yeah, one second. There we go. We have it here. Okay, so these are the question and answers with a devotee in India. So you asked the question, wouldn't you rather think of yourself as being eternally initiated by Srila Prabhupada? Wouldn't you rather think of yourself as being eternally initiated by Srila Prabhupada? Yes, no, maybe. And that is Narayan Prabhu's question. And the devotee replied, rather, isn't up for consideration. Srila Prabhupada taught that the spiritual master is eternal. What is this? Chakudan Dilote
Janme Prabhu say.
The spiritual master remains so birth after birth. So that raises a question. If I take initiation from one of these so-called ISKCON gurus and he's not a pure devotee, what happens? Am I stuck with him just like a wife is stuck with the husband? It raises a question. This insufficient guru which I'm surrendering to, if he's my spiritual master birth after birth, then it doesn't look so right to me, at least. Maybe, right? How does that sound?
Yeah, I mean, you have to either you have a temporary Kanista guru for this life, this part of this birth, or you have the Chakshudana Dila Jai Janme Janme Prabhu say means Prabhupada. If you're saying that your temporary guru, your Kanista guru is your eternal spiritual master, I would say that you're in deep trouble. Because it's instead of Prabhupada, not because of Prabhupada. We'll keep going. I have a feeling that this document isn't the right one.
Okay,
because
anyways.
It doesn't have questions and answers in it. But yeah, keep going. Might as well. We don't have that much time. We'll find the other one. Okay.
Can you delineate how the connection as per the present sense of guru-disciple relationship will be conducted in as little as 50 to 100 years from now? Question. So when you ask the question, do you suggest that the present management of ISKCON neither knows nor cares what happens to a jiva in his next birth after he takes Diksha from an ISKCON guru in his present birth? Number 2. Okay.
Practical questions that you would ask if you were buying insurance or buying a car or buying a house. These are the type of questions you would ask. Basic practical questions.
Right.
Okay, keep going.
Does the GBC consider that membership in ISKCON is a one-time only event and no one has any idea as to how many births a person will have to take before returning to Krishna Loka, and that this is not a particularly important question? Number 3, if we are unable to predict anything about the future after this birth, then why do we invite Kanishta Adhikari to take initiation at all? Does this mean that ISKCON initiation is irrelevant to the spiritual advancement of the person who is initiated, that one should not expect to make further advancement after initiation in this birth in future births? These are just questions. There's no discussion here, huh?
I know this is the wrong page, but we don't have enough time to find the right one. So let's keep on going.
Okay.
These are good questions.
Sure.
These are questions I asked and then I answered them myself but I don't have that page. We don't have that page in front of us right now.
Okay. So then you ask, does this mean, okay.
We can discuss these ourselves. It doesn't have to be for the person I was sending it to.
Okay. So you asked this question, and I guess he answered the question here. It's saying, how do you feel about relinquishing your present Diksha initiation by Srila Prabhupada at your time of death, and then taking on your next guru, who will be a GBC appointed Kanishta guru? Satisfied, not satisfied? Prabhuji, I'm not Trikala Gyan, someone who knows past, present, and future. Maybe you are. In the circumstance, I'm unable to predict anything about the future after this birth.
Okay, this is an important guy in the GBC structure, in the ICC structure, and in the Bureau structure, managing the top issues of ISKCON.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that this kindergarten question he cannot answer? Like if this was, you're going to buy a house or a car or an insurance policy, wouldn't you want to know the answers to the fine print? And
Yeah.
this isn't even that fine a print.
Yeah, yes.
I mean, how can you go ahead without knowing Trikala Gyan, past, present, future? All you have to know is the philosophy.
Yeah.
Okay,
He's escaping the answer.
keep going.
Okay. This is, I mean, he does understand that he's a spirit soul, isn't he? And then there's a past and a present unless you attain perfection, right?
Are you reading that?
No, I'm saying that.
Yeah, you're saying that. Well, I mean, he doesn't sound like he knows he's spirit soul. I mean, that's not the answer you expect from a spirit soul.
Yeah.
Is
Okay.
it? That was my issue with Jainaran, because he was giving answers that were like that. And I want an answer from you as spirit soul, not as what some idea in your head from what you learned somewhere, you know?
Yes. Okay. So let's go run down the questions. Okay.
Okay.
Question: do you aspire to return back to Godhead in your eternal relationship with Krishna? If so, how many births do you have to take for that to occur? Number 3, do you know that the process of Kanishta Madhyam and finally Uttamadakari, as it pertains to your being delivered by Lord Krishna, what does it say, Lord Krishna via Srila Prabhupada? Number 4, how would you like Srila Prabhupada to be regarded in 100 to 50 to 100 years as direct savior or historical figure only? Okay. Number 5, will you be a disciple of Srila Prabhupada or some other GBC appointed Iskand guru in your next life? Have you thought about this? Have you thought this through based on Vani and Shastra? Okay. Any Diksha gurus added or subtracted from the current staff of gurus will have a profound ripple down effect on the potency of ISKCON in the near future. What to speak of in 50 to 100 years from now? Someone's making noise. Let me mute Mahaprabhu. Okay. Any Diksha gurus added or subtracted from the current staff?
You read that.
Okay. Okay. All right. Solve this and the FTG conundrum will resolve itself for today as well as up to the end of the golden age of Kali.
You have to say what is FTG?
Female Diksha Guru. Okay, that's it.
Solve this issue. Solve this issue, and the female Diksha Guru conundrum will resolve itself for today as well as up to the end of the golden age of Kali.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, is that the end of the document?
Yes, that's the end of the document.
Okay, so we're reading the wrong thing because I wrote one which I answered the questions and posted it, but we can do that on another occasion. But now, if you don't mind, with the few minutes we have remaining, 10 minutes we have remaining, would you like to discuss any of those points and ask ourselves, that we should ask ourselves on the Zoom call, what do we think about these questions and how do they pertain to us?
Well, if you have questions and which are not resolved, then how can you advance in your spiritual life? First of all, this issue of questioning the guru, is he a pure devotee? Is he a Kanishta Adhikari? Is he a Madhyama Adhikari? Insufficient guidance. If you're not sure, then you're in trouble. If you do not know how to fly a plane, and you get in the air, I mean, there's no question about getting in the air,
Or getting out of the air.
Yeah, getting out of there, right?
Or having a love affair with a mountaintop.
Yes. So in this case, it throws, it just opens a can of worms, right? It's so difficult for the average person coming to Krishna consciousness. Well, it was difficult for myself because this is how I came. I joined the institution. Well, I joined the group, and the group thinking, and then you go along with the crowd, and unless there is some intervention by Krishna and his devotees, you will be spinning around.
Exactly.
Right.
That's I wanted to say.
Yeah, that's very nicely spoken. Who wanted to say?
Like the same thing, like until and unless there is a kind of disturbance in ISKCON with some devotee, or you get some realization from an external Prabhupada devotee, you are not going to understand this philosophy in this much depth properly.
No,
Well,
but the philosophy is actually not more complicated or difficult than is being preached in the temples. It is
for you,
simpler.
it's not difficult.
It's
for
infinitely
people of
simpler.
my age who has just joined the temple 3 months ago, for him it is difficult.
Yeah, if you make that simple as key simple, so all of these questions are automatically answered, you will get so many hundreds of people to join where you are.
he's saying for a person joining an ISKCON temple, it's very hard for them to decipher what is what. He's saying for you, it's very easy.
Of course. Therefore, they have a choice. They can listen to the ISKCON temple, or they can listen to you, or Vinay, or any of us, Vinayak, Mohit. You can listen to anyone, or Rupa Manjari. They can listen to any of us and compare what they're being told in the ISKCON temple with what they're being told online.
Okay.
We might as well have a big temple, because look at this, we're all over the world right now.
Shashi Kumar Prabhu, you have your hand raised. You can unmute yourself and speak, Prabhu, anytime you like. Go ahead. Shashi Kumar.
Prabhu, I did not get the answer for that question, which says what happens if we take Diksha from a bogus guru who is in the ISKCON.
What? You didn't get the answer?
I didn't understand. What happens if we take Diksha from a bogus guru in the ISKCON?
What happens if you take initiation from a non-Uttama Adhikari guru in ISKCON? Basically saying what bogus guru, appointed guru, GBC guru, whatever you want to call it. What happens? Well, what happens? The disciple goes wherever the guru goes. That's simple.
Yeah, and it should be
Do we
understood.
accept Srila Prabhupada as our guru?
Rupa Goswami, who is none other than Rupa Manjari in the spiritual world, says insufficient guidance. So if you're one to drive your car and you're blind, and someone sitting next to you telling you turn this way, turn that way, if they are giving you insufficient guidance, you'll probably hit something.
Yeah.
Sufficient guidance means perfect guidance.
Pure devotee, yes. Uttama Adhikari. Srila Prabhupada in our case.
Absolute reality, absolute truth.
Yeah, unless
Absolutely accurate.
Yeah, unless there's, without a doubt, beyond, I mean, my Krishna consciousness grew only when I accepted unalloyed devotional service and the Guru, Srila Prabhupada, not if you have a question mark in the middle, then, it's going to be very hard for you to decipher what is going on. But when you wholeheartedly accept Srila Prabhupada as your sole Diksha and Shiksha Guru, then you can understand some of these things. That's the secret.
And just understand that the ISKCON temple is designed by Prabhupada to keep you from taking another material birth. I would like to say, what is Kinnasadikari? Well, you are being told, don't have illicit sex, don't eat meat, don't gamble, don't drink alcohol or take drugs. Why not? Because if you do, you're running the risk you will not take another human birth. And what happens there? You have the deity. Or should I bow down to the deity or not? Yes, the deity is there to give you an introduction to the idea that Krishna has form, and that if you offer things to him as foodstuffs, bhoga, to Krishna, it comes back from him as prasadam. You taste the prasadam, and you can experience Krishna's energy in that prasadam. You can experience it. Oh yeah, okay, what about the class? Well, even with an unchanged book, well, let's say with an unchanged book, you're not hearing anything that will distract you from going back to Godhead, but rather everything you hear in the ISKCON class will bring you closer back to Godhead, particularly if they are speaking the truth, the lecturer, and particularly if they are talking from Prabhupada's unedited books. And what about Kirtan? Kirtan, that's the perfection. When you chant Hare Krishna, but it has to be with Prabhupada's original melodies. Why did they change the melodies? Because they wanted to control. They wanted to control people. You couldn't control people if they're busy surrendering to Krishna. You can only control people if they're surrendering to you. So they changed the melodies. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. No, it has to be Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. When you chant like that, and then Hare boom, Rama, like that, and the kartals, it will open your heart, cut the bonds on your heart. If you chant the way Prabhupada chanted in the same tone, melody, and sequences that he chanted, you will get the same outcome that Prabhupada is getting by chanting himself. If you want to be a pure devotee, don't chant like somebody who's not a pure devotee. You want to become like on the level of Prabhupada? Listen to Prabhupada and chant the way he chants.
Okay, it's 10 o'clock.
That will get you there.
Hare Krishna.
It's 10 o'clock.
Is there one or two more? Is there one or two more?
Haribol.
Jai Prabhu and Ramachandra. Is there anything that needs to be tidied up? Any other comments?
Srila Prabhupada is the sole and only access to Krishna Loka.
Who said that?
You.
Prabhupada is the sole access to Krishna Loka.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
What is that? What I said, or did I make a mistake?
No, I think that's what you said too. What's her name? Yadubar's wife. What's her name?
Vishaka, yeah.
Vishaka. Right.
Prabhupada, yeah. And she said, but what about the ISKCON gurus? I said, are they surrendered to Prabhupada? Yeah. So if they're surrendered to Prabhupada and he's surrendered to Krishna, then Prabhupada is still the sole source access to Krishna Loka. But she wanted to make it that was then and this is now. She had so much association with her husband Yadubar in India. I was with them in Bombay. And they had so much association of Prabhupada. How can she dare say later, oh yes, what about the new gurus? Which one of them? We were there in Bombay with what's his name? Giriraj. Said he was not on the same level as Prabhupada. He still isn't on the same level as Prabhupada. So why do you say sole source access? That you're saying Giriraj is as good as Prabhupada? You were in a temple run by Giriraj. It was a total mess. And we were there with Srila Prabhupada in person. It was totally glorious. Why are you saying that Prabhupada that the giver us is as good as Srila Prabhupada? How do you get there?
I don't know how she got there. She had, it seems many devotees who associated with Srila Prabhupada took him to be some kind of ordinary rank and file special person. And in this way,
Well, they began to, everybody was overwhelmed by Srila Prabhupada. But in terms of practical everyday action, they treated Prabhupada like he's good for spiritual life, but we know what to do managerially. We can manage better.
Yeah,
He didn't realize there is no management in Krishna consciousness. All there is bhakti. If an Indian donor gives a lakh of rupees or a crore of rupees, that doesn't mean you're good at conning the man. It means that you have inspired him to give because Krishna is telling him in his heart to give. So it's because of you inspire the man to give, not that you trick him or persuade or bribe him into giving.
Joy.
So
any last
that movie when they came up with their movie, the Hare Krishna movie with Prabhupada in it, and I saw it in a movie theater in Santa Monica, regular art theater, and I came there and we saw it at the end. It was a wonderful movie, and I said to Vishaka, asked me, well, what did you think? And I said, well, Vishaka Prabhu, I would say it convinced me of one thing. From what you have shown and what you have done with your film, that Prabhupada is understandably the sole source access to Krishna Loka.
Hare Krishna.
She nearly had a miscarriage or something like that.
Good night, Prabhus.
Why are you leaving now, Mahaprabhu?
Well,
it's 10 o'clock. It's past a little by 10, but then we can end.
Rupa's telling us it's time to quit.
She is your guru.
No, you're my guru.
Actually, I'm not your guru. Prabhupada is your guru.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada is the guru for everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Mohit.
From 1965 to he's the guru from 1965 to the end of the golden age of Kali. For everybody.
Krishna Ratri.
Regardless of species.
Jai.
Jai.
And what does...
Acha.
Okay, so are we okay? So
we're good.
So Mahaprabhu, did you find that to be sober?
Extremely sober.
So you're getting it, right?
Little by little, I'm getting it.
No, you're getting it in chunks.
It's a process.
You get it, you're like a cow. You take a big mouthful of grass, but then you take days to chew it up properly.
Hare Krishna.
All right, so our next meeting will be on Wednesday and Thursday. And
we do Wednesday, Thursday, and Sundays?
Sundays, yes. Most Sundays I will be available. If not, then I'll let you guys know in advance, at least a day or two early.
But we can do Friday also if you want.
No, not Friday.
Why not Friday?